All right, everyone. Here I'm looking at claims and weather data module that stores customer information, including income, and also stores the vehicle information that the customer drives, type of accident that the customer had, and a claim amount. Now, suppose that instead of looking at customer income, I want to look at income category. In other words, income is a continuous column, but I don't care about actual value. I want to look at the category. So what I need to do is I need to create something called data group. All right. So what I do is I can right click on a column heading and I'm going to select create data group. Right? So now what I see here is by default data group, it's going to be another column named by the same name as my initial column name, suffixed with groups and parentheses. See that? By default, it created 5 ranges, 5 value ranges. See that? Like for example, less than 19997. Here is going to be between 19997 to 39993. See that? So instead of actual values, I'm going to see this label depending on which range the value falls in. I can, if I wanted to, I can change the number of groups. Take a look at it. I'm changing the number of groups here, and it will adjust the group ranges accordingly, right? See that? I'm going to return it to 5. And if I wanted to change the ranges without changing the number of groups, I can use this up and down arrows. See that here? But I'm going to keep it as default. And in addition, I could specify how I want to handle the missing values here, right? Now, to save the actual column, I need to click on create, because if I click on this X to close this window, right, the column, data group column will not be saved. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create. So now what happens? Let's take a look. This is the original income column. It did not get changed. But over here, see, this is our income group column. Well, of course, you see the same value here, but just to see that the values are different, let's just go ahead and sort our data by the customer. See this? So I can sort the data by the customer ID, and now you're going to see that the values, right, are actually different. They're not the same. And the group where the group labels that you see here depends on the range where the value falls under. So see that? And you can just compare the actual values of income with the group value, right? With the group label, just for comparison. Data group functionality is not limited to numeric columns. You can also bin the categorical column, right? Like for example, we have a column called coverage, called policy, right? See this? There are at least 9 values. Corporate L1, corporate L2, corporate L3. And suppose that I want to look at them, I want to group them. All corporate, I want to look in the same bin, all personal in the same bin, all special in the same bin. What I could do is I could also right-click on this column heading, and I'm going to say create data group. However, unlike for numeric columns, the data groups for categorical columns are not predefined. I will need to explicitly create them. So take a look. This will be, a new column will be added to my data. By default, the name is original column name suffixed with group. So now I need to add the new group here, right? So what I have here, see here, those are the possible values in that column. I'm going to create a new group just by clicking on new group, and I'm going to name it as corporate, right? So now I need to add values to my group. How do I do it? I make sure that this group is selected. Then I'm going to select the value here, and I'm going to click on this arrow. that will add the value to the group. And I'm going to do the same for corporate L3, L2, L3, and L4. There we go. Now I'm going to add another group and I'm going to call it personal, right? So I double click here and I'm going to name it personal, right? And I need to add values to that group. So over here, I see the remaining values that have not been used. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to select the value and I'm going to click on the arrow to add it to the group. And I'm going to create one more group and I'm going to call it special, right? Special. And right now I need to add value to this group. So I'm going to go ahead, select the values and click on the arrow to add them to the group, right? So I've got 3 groups in here and no more values remaining. Now what I need to do is, it's important to click on create, because if you don't click on create, the work that we just did will be lost. I click on create. Now what's gonna happen? The values in the original column will not be changed, but instead I'm gonna see another column added here. See this? This is a policy group, and the values depend on which category the original value falls under. See that? Now, I'm going to show you something else. You can click on this column, right? And you can look at the column properties. And when you click on expression here, this is the actual code that gets generated by Cognos when you create this data group. This is actual code. You see, you don't need to know how to code. It's going to write the code for you. All right. So in this video, we covered data group functionality for numeric and categorical columns. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.